You ever watch a hearing and within the first couple of minutes, you can already tell it's about to get tense? That's exactly what happened here. We start off watching what looks like a routine Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. And then Senator Ted Cruz starts asking questions that immediately change the atmosphere in the room. You can almost feel everyone tighten up because the questions aren't small. They go straight to allegations involving President Joe Biden, the FBI, and claims of corruption that have been debated across America for years. Now, before we jump into everything, I want you to keep watching because the exchange you're about to see raises bigger questions than just one politician or one investigation. It's about transparency, accountability, and whether government institutions should answer directly to the American people. As we go through this together, I want you to decide for yourself whether these responses sound convincing or whether they leave more questions than answers. Welcome back to the Political Brief. If you believe in honest political discussion, government accountability, and staying informed without the mainstream media deciding what you should think, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, smash that like button, and leave a comment below. I read your comments every day, and I genuinely want to hear your opinion after we finish watching this hearing. Now, let's get into it.
For statutory changes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Ossoff. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, every day when I'm home in Texas, I hear from Texans who are deeply dismayed about the growing politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. If you are not, every one of you should be deeply concerned about the damage being done to the integrity of the institutions in which you operate. My office hears regularly from FBI agents and from assistant U.S. attorneys who are likewise concerned about the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI, and this is profoundly damaging to the rule of law in our nation. Last month, a whistleblower brought to light the existence in the FBI of a report, an FD 1023, in which the informant alleges that President Biden and his family members engaged in a $5 million bribery scheme during his time as vice president. Deputy Director Abbate, is it true that the FBI has a report making those allegations?
I'm not going to comment on that, Senator.
And why is that?
I'm just not going to comment on information we received, investigations.
Do you owe an obligation to the American people to be candid about evidence of corruption by the President of the United States?
This is an area that I'm not going to get into with you, Senator.
Well, I understand you don't want to, and that's why people are mad at the FBI, because you're stonewalling and covering up serious allegations of evidence of corruption from the president. Yesterday, Senator Chuck Grassley stood on the Senate floor and alleged that there are 17 recordings of this informant from Burisma, Ukrainian natural gas company. 15 of them are recordings, voice recordings of him talking to Hunter Biden. 2 of them are voice recordings of him talking to Joe Biden. Deputy Director Abbate, does the FBI have 17 voice recordings laying out evidence of a bribery scheme?
Senator, I would add also that we've worked with the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah, this is the Senate. We're the other side of the Capitol. This is the Senate. Do you have those 17 recordings?
I'm not going to comment on any investigative matters, Senator.
See, that's the problem. The FBI, and I've had this conversation with Chris Wray too, this is why you are damaging the institution. The American people have a right to know whether there is serious, credible evidence that the President of the United States took a $5 million bribe. And by the way, if it's false, Chairman Durbin just rolled his eyes. If Chairman Durbin were interested in the rule of law, we would have a hearing on these allegations. But of course, the Democrats don't want a hearing on these allegations. And to be clear, if the allegations are false, you know who could disprove them? Joe Biden. He could call for this to be released publicly. But the FBI is stonewalling. Would you agree?
2 things, Senator. No one's stonewalling. The 1023
you just said you refused to answer the question.
In response to a subpoena.
Okay, then why did you refuse to answer my question?
The pertinent information is there, and I reject your assertion that the FBI is politicized.
Why did you refuse to answer my question?
I just answered your question.
Okay, so yes, you have a 1023. Do you have the 17 recordings, yes or no?
I'm not going to get further into that.
So you're stonewalling. You can't say I'm not refusing to answer your question, but I won't answer your question.
I'm going to answer within the parameters that we operate in. Here.
That's the problem. The FBI has right now an unlimited hubris that you believe you are unaccountable. You don't believe you're accountable to the United States Congress, and you don't believe you're accountable to the American people. And you are doing damage. The FBI is a great institution. When I go home to Texas, people ask me, should we abolish the FBI? Now, I tell them no, because you have heroes and patriots working for you that are catching child predators, that are catching terrorists. But you're sitting there happily erecting a wall to protect Joe Biden. Will you provide to this committee, not the House, the Senate Judiciary Committee, will you provide the FD 1023 and will you provide the 17 recordings so we can assess what is the evidence, the specific credible evidence that Joe Biden personally took a $5 million bribe from a foreign national?
Senator, we will work with this committee, you and other members, to provide the information within the parameters of the process.
Will you provide the FD 1023, yes or no?
I will take that back, and we will work with our team.
So you're not answering that. Will you provide the 17 recordings?
We will take that back, and we'll work with you.
So you're not answering that either. Did you investigate in any way, shape, or form these allegations?
Senator, once again, I'm not going to comment.
So you're not going to say whether you did your job?
We do our job to the very best of our ability.
Well, not here. You're not answering a single question to the American people. And you may think this is esoteric. I promise you, millions of Americans are concerned. You know who isn't concerned? Not a single Senate Democrat. We're going to go through this whole hearing. Not one Democrat will ask a question about this. You know who else isn't concerned? The corporate media, who is joining with the Democrats in covering up this evidence. If Joe Biden is innocent, the evidence should be made public and demonstrate that he's innocent. But if he is not, is it true this informant who alleged that he personally took a bribe was an informant the FBI had relied upon previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
Senator, in each and every investigation that we have, all the work that we do,
I asked you
the
yes or no
expectation
question.
is that every logical avenue investigation be pursued.
I asked you a
to
yes
its
or no
fullest.
question. Are you going to answer it?
Yeah, I'm answering your question.
Was the informant one you had relied on previously in other investigations? Yes or no?
Senator, we run down every piece of information. Every
You're not
lead,
answering it then. You're refusing to answer it. So you're refusing to answer the
to
question.
the fullest extent possible.
You're refusing to answer the question.
Senator,
Is
your
that
time
correct?
has
in all
expired.
instances.
Senator, your time
It's
is
disgraceful. It's disgraceful, Deputy Director Abbate. Disgraceful.
Senator, your time has expired. Senator Tilts?
Chairman, I think Senator Blackburn goes before me, or Senator Welch. I appreciate the opportunity, but
Thank you, Senator Tillis. It's Senator Welch is next.
Ted Cruz wastes absolutely no time. He starts by saying that every time he goes home to Texas, people tell him they're deeply concerned about what they see as the politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. Whether you agree with him or not, there's no denying that public trust in federal institutions has become one of the biggest political issues in America. Republicans have been arguing for years that the DOJ and FBI have increasingly been used in politically selective ways, while Democrats argue that law enforcement is simply following the facts wherever they lead. But Cruz isn't interested in debating philosophy here. He wants answers. Specifically, he brings up allegations connected to an FBI FD 1023 form, a confidential informant report that has been the subject of enormous political controversy. According to Cruz, the report contains allegations that Joe Biden and members of his family were involved in a $5 million bribery scheme while Biden served as vice president. Now, right away, he asks FBI Deputy Director Paul Abbate a very straightforward question. Does the FBI possess a report containing those allegations? Instead of giving a yes or no answer, Abbate says he won't comment. Immediately, you can feel the frustration building. Cruz asks why. Again, no answer beyond saying he won't discuss investigative matters. Now, from a conservative perspective, this is exactly the kind of exchange that has fueled years of skepticism toward federal law enforcement leadership. Americans understand that ongoing investigations often require confidentiality. Nobody expects investigators to reveal every detail of active cases. But when the questions involve allegations surrounding the President of the United States, many conservatives believe transparency becomes even more important. Then Cruz raises the stakes. He references claims made by Senator Chuck Grassley that there are allegedly 17 audio recordings connected to the informant, 15 involving Hunter Biden and 2 involving Joe Biden. Again, Cruz asks a direct question. Does the FBI have these recordings? Again, no direct answer. Instead, Abbate repeats that he won't comment on investigative matters. And that's where Cruz really goes on offense. He says this is exactly why Americans are losing confidence in the FBI. Now here's something worth pointing out. Whether these allegations ultimately prove true or false isn't really the point Cruz is making during this exchange. His argument is about accountability. He's essentially saying that if there is evidence, Congress has the responsibility to review it. And if the allegations are false, then releasing information could actually help clear President Biden's name. That's an argument many conservatives have made consistently. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. If there's nothing there, show the evidence. If there's something there, investigate it thoroughly. Either way, the public deserves confidence that justice is being applied equally. As the questioning continues, Cruz becomes visibly more frustrated. Every answer sounds almost identical. I won't comment. We'll work with the committee. I'm not going to discuss investigative matters. From the outside looking in, it starts sounding less like answers and more like carefully rehearsed talking points. Now, to be fair, FBI officials often operate under strict policies limiting what they can publicly disclose. That's not unique to this administration. Similar responses have been given under Republican and Democratic administrations alike. Investigative agencies generally avoid commenting on ongoing investigations, confidential informants, or sensitive evidence in public hearings. But here's where conservatives see the double standard. Many remember years of constant leaks involving investigations connected to Donald Trump. Details seemed to reach the media almost immediately. Search warrants became front-page headlines. Anonymous sources appeared almost daily. Yet when questions involve allegations surrounding Joe Biden, suddenly everything becomes confidential. Whether that perception is completely accurate or not, it's a perception shared by millions of Americans, and public trust depends just as much on perceived fairness as actual fairness. Cruz then says something that I think reflects what many Republican voters have been saying for quite some time. He tells Abbate that when he goes back to Texas, people ask him whether the FBI should be abolished altogether. Now, Cruz says he tells them no. He says the FBI has countless dedicated agents who protect children, investigate terrorists, and risk their lives serving the country. I actually agree with that point. There's a huge difference between criticizing leadership and attacking the thousands of agents who honestly serve the American people every single day. Most conservatives I've talked to don't hate the FBI as an institution. They believe the problem lies at the top. Leadership, decision-making, political influence. That's an important distinction. Cruz continues pressing. Will the FBI provide the Senate Judiciary Committee with the FD 1023? No clear answer. Will they provide the 17 recordings? Again, no direct answer. Will they at least say whether they investigated the allegations? Again, no answer. At this point, the hearing almost becomes repetitive. Question, deflection,